Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wicked Bee of the West YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Stephanie Diana Eubank, and this is my web channel for my organization, Wicked Bee of the West Consulting. I am a operational management and business administration professor over at Stan State. And I know I've been on hiatus, mea culpa. I've been working on so many things. Specifically, I've just finished all the publishing for my dissertation, completing the last bits of my doctorate program so that everything is now conferred. Yay! And I also been working on the publication of my textbook, which is been in partnership with Cognella in creating a both online and hard copy textbook looking at operational management with the future of work in mind with regards to remote and hybrid work. Because quite frankly, most of the textbooks that I've personally come across do not note anything about remote work or specifically focus on either negative or only from the leadership perspective of remote work versus looking at both sides of the sword and that both sides are equally sharp. And yes, so many different consulting and other work process going on, including some collaborations I've been doing with Gallo Winery with the university over at Stan State. So all of that good news out of the way, I want to talk about today. There are 7 specific ways to utilize AI with regards to business communications. And I know right now the big hullabaloo as far as what has been written and is being researched and discussed is the negative aspects of the utilization of AI in business. But I personally have found within the research that if we, as those who are studying business specifically and studying business in the form of education, we will find a lot more ways that we can utilize AI as a tool versus our competition if we learn to enhance our skills and understanding of business as a whole and on technology as a whole. This being said, I personally, being ADHD myself, I know that there are some who find my communication style either off-putting or a little bit difficult for them to really grasp the entire globalization of what I say. And with this in mind, I have had to learn how to speak to curtail around my audience versus my audience having to curtail around me. So with this in mind, AI has become a great tool for me. Personally, those of you who haven't really done a lot with AI yet, ChatGPT, especially to use their premium package, it costs about $200 a month. And I have been fortunate working with Stan State and also other Stan State and other CSU students and faculty have access to Microsoft Copilot as part of your tuition and or your usage as faculty members. And Copilot is basically Microsoft's version of ChatGPT. And honestly, it's been wonderful the way that they have it set up. It is very user friendly. But there are 7 specific ways that it's really helped me as far as my business communication, helped me thrive within a business paradigm. This being said, one way is writing and editing emails because my job outside of working in education and in consulting is working within the financial sector, doing financial compliance of underwriting, specifically with my focus on condos. This being said, I communicate a lot with salespeople, and salespeople's communication style is a little bit more gregarious and emotional due to the fact that they're working so closely with those who they're selling to. It's hard for them not to get passionate about their work, which is understandable. But in a compliance arena, our biases are removed and we're just looking at the facts. So this can create quite a divide within communication. And as such, finding ways to further simplify complex topics that I'm trying to convey so that I get to the root cause in a more efficient way and considering my audience is a great tool within AI, especially with Copilot, by using it to edit and write out my emails. It also helps with creating what many businesses call the one voice method, which is basically where you standardize all your emails and other communications so that you're all sending out the same type of message. There's no wiggle room, there's no room for argument about he said, she said. It is all standardized. And again, helps show in writing the commitment your team has to the overall mission statement of your organization. Which brings me to the other aspect that AI is able to really benefit your communication is utilizing it with regards to creating business docs, especially for small businesses and growing and scaling businesses. You're often looking for efficient ways to do more with less. And as the fact that I've actually started from the ground up two nonprofits and have my own consulting firm, I speak from experience on this, on finding creative ways to keep your costs down while building room for you to scale up. And again, that starts with doing more with less. And utilizing Copilot, you can literally prompt the software to basically write out any kind of contract you want. But, and this is a big but, you need to make sure to go through and read what it writes. Okay. Never just say, oh, one particular one that I find amusing that people who want me to look over their resume and cover letter, I can tell they used AI to do it because they gave it a prompt, they had it make their cover letter, and it's not only impassionate, it sounds like a robot wrote it, but there's big errors in it that don't match the resume or the person or anything else they've said. So always go and double check it. Another for students, they'll use it to answer questions or write their essays, and you'll see disconnects and things that don't really make sense or aren't tied to what they were talking about. And especially this term, now that the CSUs have approved the usage of AI as something that they're going to start teaching students how to utilize. I'm actually working on some course materials to have students actually do projects utilizing AI as a writing tool. So that's going to be fun on how to do this. But again, always check the work that is pumped out of ChatGPT to make sure there aren't errors or things that just don't align with what you're saying. It is a method for making your life easier, but you got to make sure that it's not indirectly making your life harder. Which brings me to the other aspect of how to use ChatGPT as AI for your communications benefit. And that's the concept of real-time communication support. So there have been more than once where, especially working with salespeople, where they're responding and asking questions, and I've given them a response, but apparently the response I've given them just doesn't match with what they can understand about it. And that's especially when you're communicating some complex, especially compliance concepts and topics as far as addressing risk management. And so Copilot has been great that when they have those lickety split responses, that I'm able to utilize Copilot towards making as simplistic of answers as possible and making sure that they're coming out formatted and sounding professional, because sometimes, especially when you've been arguing in an email, even after talking with people in person or by a video chat or phone, the argument still persists. So being able to respond lickety split with Copilot, making sure you're keeping everything concise, true to form, and able to understand your audience is a great way that if it gets escalated, you have documentation showing you everything was done in an appropriate and professional manner, but also in a way that was meant to address your audience. And again, Copilot is so awesome with utilizing it to address issues of data interpretation and visualization. I've been able to utilize it, especially with Excel spreadsheets, and I will collect data and ask and prompt it with the Excel that I've made of make this look more professional, add in pivots, all of these different things so that I'm actually saving time. I've actually had a number of projects recently where I've had to collect a lot of data, code it into Excel, and then they wanted presentation or other visualizations of the data. And I've been able to prompt Copilot to make all of my pie charts and other graphs within seconds, which would have taken me a while as far as plugging in all the appropriate mathematical sums and codes that Excel requires to be able to do all of that work. Also, it will sit and help me create notes and help me create PowerPoint presentations to further that visualization. Because again, it's one thing for me to be able to look at the data and be able to say, this is what the data is saying. I have to be able to make the data say that to a diverse community that may work differently as far as how they understand the visualization or the presentation of data. So again, it really helps to do that as well. And there's also the ability to through Copilot, where it can't run SPSS, it can do tasks like generate syntax, which is a code that runs an analysis in SPSS. So I am able to use it also further as far as understanding data that's collected. So that's a really useful way to create summaries and other visualizations, especially when you're working with those in financial compliance and in risk assessment. Again, it's all about the data, and knowledge is still power. Uh, Fifthly, canned language. Now, again, with that one voice construct, especially when you're dealing with customer service or the development of a customer service protocol and systems and regulations, especially for small businesses, when you're trying to make sure that you're doing more with less, Copilot is able to develop templates for your organization to have canned language and be able to address any concerns about he said, she said as far as customer service, because whatever you put in writing is defensible. So you have to make sure that you're keeping everybody to the same language and the same concepts. Which also goes into the last concept as far as how we can utilize Copilot as a communication tool. And it's the ability to create policy and compliance procedures. So P&Ps or policy and procedures are a must, regardless of what organization you're doing. It helps you cover a CYOB, cover your own bum. And when you have those put in place properly, it can help you better be defensible of any action you do and make sure that your company is running kosher. Nobody wants to deal with any regulatory agency more than they have to. It also can help as far as developing your process and procedures and your systems within your organization on how you get stuff done, which helps you with training and optimizing learning within your company as you start to scale up and hire more people. So this is a great tool all around to be able to help better understand how we can use Copilot and other such AI in business to be able to really help us take it to the next level. I hope you all enjoyed my little discussion here today. There will be more content. And if you have questions or want further consultations within my organization of Wikipedia of the West, contact info is below in my blog. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, sharing is caring. And of course, always remote work. It's here to stay. Take care, everybody.